Hey, you guys, I want to tell you a story. It's story time. I actually want to tell you a couple stories. One is something that happened recently that just completely blew me away, and I have to share it because I was just so amazed. And then the other is a bigger, broader story with an update for you on world events and timelines. So, first, let me tell you the one's more of an individual story, anecdotal. The other one is literally going to tell you about the negative timeline that was prevented from happening, the negative timeline that was defeated so it couldn't happen. So, first, I'm going to tell you the quick story or the individual story. So, I had a lot of healing work to do in October, especially in the lead up to Halloween, because with the veil thinning, it's both a good and bad thing. I now hate October, if I'm being honest. It's the worst month of the year because it's the most dangerous month of the year, and I'm always very busy, whether it's doing work for individual clients or doing soul group work. Anyway, so I had an entity extraction that I needed to do, and Spirit had specifically told me to do it on Halloween, which is when the veil's gone. So the good spirit, like when the veil's gone, the bad spirits are able to do more to cause problems in the world, and the good spirits are able to step in more to help as well. Like in my own personal spiritual warfare journey, 3 or 4 demons had to be dealt with in October or on Halloween specifically for that exact reason, because the good spirits need to be able to help more and intervene more. So I had to do this entity extraction on Halloween because it was a level 2 entity, and I have only just started doing level 2 spiritual warfare work. Like spirits only just trained me to up to that point. So Spirit did not tell me what was going to happen before doing this. So while I'm meditating, okay, so first what I knew going into it was that be removing a demon from her twin flame. Fine. That was not really that big of a deal. I actually kind of thought it was funny because the way it appeared to me was more like wearing a costume, and I kind of felt so it looked kind of like a goblin or a ghoul. It was wearing like a Halloween costume. And I was like, are you supposed to be scary? And I just kind of dismissed it. And, it was transmuted to the light like it's supposed to be. But then, this is the part that I was anticipating, and I didn't fully know what it meant until after I talked to her. Spirit did not really show me what happened. What Spirit showed me was a scene at a school, and a bunch of kids came into what I saw was kind of like a gym, like a place where they would why can I not think of the word, but where they would come together for an assembly or something like that. Like whether they would be on bleachers or whatever type of facility that they might have at the school. Hold on. So the kids all came into this gym or whatever, and then they started comforting each other. And I could tell that they were going through a healing experience from some type of traumatic event. And I don't remember if I was told it or I felt it, but I felt like it was from a school shooting. So when I let the client know how it went, I told her about the vision, and I asked her, she works at a school, and I asked her about if there was anything that has happened recently. And Spirit did actually tell me, I can't remember if Spirit told me before or after I talked to her. I think it was before, but Spirit did tell me that there was not a school shooting that has happened. So I wasn't sure what she meant, what it could have been, if it was that way. A lot of the visions that people will see, healers will see, are symbolic, to help the healer be able to interpret, as accurately as possible, but not necessarily painting an exact picture. So I wasn't sure exactly what type of traumatic event it could be or how similar to that feeling that I was given. And at first, she didn't know what I was talking about. But then she had something come to her later on that day, and she remembered, and some stuff came up that indicated that it is still a present issue that she had just kind of like forgotten about for a little while, basically. So, and the vision wasn't exact to her circumstance either because of where she works, but it was what I needed to see to be able to understand it correctly. So it turns out that there's a 9-year-old at her school that is not mentally well, and is in fact like doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And they even like found a list. And so of course went back to Spirit about this, and Spirit told me that Spirit used the opportunity, especially because it was on Halloween and the veils were removed, and Spirit could come in and do what needed to be done without needing to like tell me exactly what was up, especially because the healing was not for this student, but it was a student that she had previously and who was at her school. And Spirit, through me and this healing, removed another level 2 demon from this student, and this demon was going to commit some type of school incident, whether it would be a shooting or something else, through this child. And it is important to understand that when things like this happen, like these are demons working through these people. Like most of these people, like they're not spiritually well. They are suffering from spiritual warfare themselves. They have demonic attachments and things that are causing them to do this stuff. But like a 9-year-old, we were like, what? So yeah, I am just like, I still speechless, because I didn't know that that's what we would be doing, or at least part of what we would be doing when we started this healing. And then to find out that I assisted in removing, I say I assisted, I'm the human that assisted. This ascended masters and Spirit are the ones who were in control, working through me, and came in and removed this demon from this child who was going to cause him to commit an atrocity at a school. And I just so blown away by that. Spirit has us now continuing to do some healing work on him to help him get on the right path, because since that healing was not specific for him, I need to do a little bit more so that another entity doesn't come in and replace that one, and to help him heal and move on to the right path for his life. So yeah, just wow. I feel like honored to have played a part in that, and also blown away by it. But anyway, so the other thing, I'm not sure if I'm gonna run out of time in this video or not, but I wanted to also tell you guys, and Spirit told me to, Spirit instructed me to go ahead and also tell you guys now. I don't frequently talk about world happenings and US happenings, because I live in the US, because it can be a very divisive topic. Like not everybody has the same beliefs, and there's lots of reasons for that. The dark has been running the planet for a very long time. This is definitely going to go to a second video because I don't want to rush it. I want to be able to discuss freely. So, the dark has been ruling the planet for a really long time, since, the fall of Atlantis. And they know how to manipulate and control the population. So, there's a lot of people who they can't see clearly because of how they've been conditioned, because of how generations and lifetimes of people have been conditioned. And we're in the times of Ascension. We are in the times of dismantling that control the dark has had over Earth and humanity, and removing them so that Earth and humanity can ascend and create new Earth and transition to the next soul ascension cycles and planetary ascension cycles. So this is all in the process of being dismantled. And of course, the dark doesn't want to let go. They don't want to peacefully move on. So we're in a tricky time period right now. Pause and go to part 2. What a cliffhanger. Okay, so picking up where I left off, we're in a tricky time period right now because we're in the beginning of Ascension. Ascension started in 2012. It's going to be, I don't really want to get into all the details about Ascension. And I'm not even sure how much Spirit wants me to say, because not everybody can handle everything. Yeah, you really have to be able to stay in that 5D perspective and understanding, because the world's going to change so much that it's hard to fathom, and it's hard to wrap your head around. So what Spirit has told me, the planetary ascension cycles, the 1,000 years at the beginning and the end are transition phases, and then in the middle is 12,000 year soul ascension cycles. So the fall of Atlantis was the end of the last planetary ascension cycle and the beginning of the next one. We had that transition period, 2 soul ascension cycles, and now 2012 is the beginning, or was the beginning, of the 1,000 year transition period to close out this planetary ascension cycle. So yes, there's approximately 1,000 years left of ascension, but it's not going to take all 1,000 years for Earth and humanity to ascend. It's going to take a much shorter amount of time for the hardest part of the work. Earth is going to continue to ascend. Spirit has told me that Earth is going to ascend, go from the 3D up all the way to the 9D over the course of those 1,000 years. And it's a gradual process because, it's too much to happen quickly. Too much for us to take. Too much for even like the planet to take. But so we're in the process of transitioning first from being like strictly 3D to a combination of 3D, 4D, 5D. And eventually that will just be 4D and 5D, and the 3D will be completely like weeded out and removed. And then once we're all in 4D and 5D, then we're going to transition to bringing in 6D and weeding out the 4D. And then when we get to, eventually we'll get to being like 6D, and then gradually transition to 7D and 8D and 9D. And the path between 3D and 6D has 3 Armageddons, and we are in smack dab in the middle of the first one. The first Armageddon is removing the 3D evil from the planet. The second Armageddon is removing the 4D evil from the planet, and the third Armageddon is removing the 5D galactic evil from the planet. So this is all like spread out over the coming decades, okay? But right now we are smack dab in the middle of that first Armageddon, removal of the 3D evil, and the biggest part of that is removal of the evil people who have been running the world and keeping it in these lower densities and lower energies, and the corruption and the evil that has just been like enslaving humans essentially. Like, yes, there are people, they are working with evil spirits as well. It's a complex thing, and I don't even fully understand all that because I haven't asked. But it's right now it's taking the 3D people who have had that power out of that power. Okay. And like I said at the end of the previous video, the dark doesn't want to let go. They're not going to easily, peacefully give up control and walk away. So I actually watched a webinar in the spring because I'm part of a spiritual community. I'm a member of a spiritual community, online spiritual community, that they do like webinars. They actually do them monthly. I don't watch all of them. That they bring in speakers or whatever. That's not important. So they had a webinar with this guy, and he is a guy who he had a near-death experience. Like, he died. He actually died in his sleep at home, like in his bed. And he would have stayed dead, except that he had a near-death experience. And in his near-death experience, he talked to, I think he refers to it as just source, but basically God. But anyway, take it how you best connect with the terminology, okay? I mean, it's all meaning the same thing. It's just how you think of it, what words you use. But anyway, so he talked to God in this near-death experience, and God was essentially said to him, like, I have an important mission for you. There's not enough time for you to reincarnate for it. I want you to go back, and I want you to stay alive if you agree to this mission, and then do this mission for me. Well, for me, for humanity, for the world, and for God. And he agreed to it. And there's even some very like fascinating complexities to that, because the version of him that returned to his body was not the same version of him as what left his body, and his family can tell, which that's like what's really cool about it. But anyway, it's just it's a higher facet of his soul. Like, say like his 3D body died, or his 4D body died. That's not the right way to say that, but the 4D aspect of himself, and what returned is like a higher like 5D or 6D aspect of his soul that returned. So anyway, I've seen a few of his webinars, very fascinating information that he talks about, him and another guy. Spirit has told me that they're ascended masters, that their souls have reached the ascended master stage of soul development, and they are here to help humanity ascend. So fine. And that their information is trustworthy, because I did ask Spirit about that. So anyway, I wish I could go on about all the things he talks about, but I don't have time for that. The most important thing is that he had a webinar for us to watch in the spring, in which he specifically said, God wants me to talk to you guys today, and he wants me to give you a warning that there's going to be scary things happening in the world this year, because the dark is desperately trying to retain control. He said, God wants you to know that you don't have anything to worry about. Everything's going to be okay. The light is not going to allow, the dark to retain control. Like, it's already decided in the 5D and above, but it has to play out down here in the 3D. But he outright said, he's like, there are going to be attacks within the U.S. You're going to see monuments fall, buildings fall. You're going to see major things happen, because the dark people in charge and the dark beings are going to be trying to start World War III, and they're going to be trying to scare people, and they're going to be trying to hold on to their hold on humanity and the world, and they're going to be trying to carry out their negative timeline. And I know there are lots of seers and other psychics who have seen negative timelines and have visions of it, and the possibility of different things happen. I mean, there's even like psychics who are attuned with the higher timelines, but they are also getting the visions. Like, I know someone who I trust who had a vision of a chemical warfare attack. So that was a possibility. And I know that it was a very real possibility, because at the beginning of October, Spirit warned me to stock up. Spirit had me stock up on household supplies, and as much food as possible to get through the rest of the year, practically. I mean, you can't do all of that for food, but for a lot, anything that doesn't need to be, anything that's not fresh, but like household goods and stuff that can be frozen. Like, Spirit instructed me to stock up for as much as possible, and I'm not the only person either. I know several people with their own spiritual guidance that they were told the same thing, and they did the same thing. Excuse me. Many psychics were not even seeing an election happen, and that was one of the possibilities. One of the possibilities of the possible timelines of what could occur was that the election was delayed, that the dark succeeded in delaying the election from even happening to continue to try to retain control and insert who they wanted to be in control. And the reality is that nobody has any idea who's actually been in control the last 4 years, because the president who was elected has had dementia, and somebody else behind the scenes has been making the decisions, and he's just been the public face. So nobody really knows, and they just really kind of wanted it to continue that way for as long as possible, to be honest. Okay, so apparently we need one more video. Hold that, one more, why can I not talk or remember words right now? Cliffhanger, one more cliffhanger. Okay, continuing and hopefully wrapping up. So honestly, like, I really don't put barely any even thought into all of that and what's going to happen. Like, I've had conversations with Spirit about it years ago, 2020, 2021, and I trust what Spirit's told me, and I do not put any energy or thoughts or lower energies into the possibilities of the negative timelines. I really have just like trusted that Spirit told me that this election in 2024 would be critical, it would be important, and that it would go the way that it needs to, essentially, and that it would be the beginning of restructuring the government to remove the corruption, to remove the dark, to literally, like, when I say restructure, I mean restructure. Like, I don't know how much on the 3D level, like, based on how we understand how the government works, like, I'm not sure how much will change that we are aware of, but I know from what has been explained spiritually that it's more of like how fairly it will be run, and like the balance of power and that type of thing. And I don't even know how else to explain it, because I don't know how it will compare from the 3D versus the 5D. But the most important part is removal of corrupt individuals, removal of evil and dark individuals who are only operating from their own agenda and are trying to help the dark maintain their control. And then, like I said, restructuring whatever is needed so that it's what's needed for New Earth, essentially. and what's needed for Ascension. And I guess it remains to be seen what that will actually look like. But the most important thing is just like what Spirit told me, that it's the beginning of the restructuring of the government. And it starts in the US and then it extends out to the rest of the world, because the US does hold some type of spiritual strength and power as like being a leader for the whole world. And we've seen that over the course of history as well anyway. So that's what I knew. And I really just trusted Spirit and trusted to let it play out. And I did not put any energy or thought into all the negative timelines and all of what people talk about. The truthers, they really kind of go out of hand sometimes with some of the stuff that they say. A lot of the truthers are missing the spiritual component, and that's why. And they take things and they make it viral and they run with it. So a lot of the truther stuff is very like fear mongering as well, and that's why I don't pay attention to that either. And I'm just like, no, that's not what's going to happen. So anyway, but like I said, even psychics that I trust and who are attuned to the higher timelines, like they were seeing the possibilities of the different things that could happen, because the thing about the future is that things are not set in stone. There's different possibilities, different timelines, and different options of what can happen. The outcome is still the same, but it's the path getting there that can change and can be different based on free will choices, based on a variety of things. Because especially when you're talking about what's going to happen on the world scale, you're also talking about humanity's collective consciousness and awakening and how that influences everything. So the path getting there can vary. So like I said, multiple people not even seeing an election happen, seeing the attacks within the US even on their own people. And I just have to say, even though I don't want to get into the politics of it, I just have to say, and just like a week or two before the election, the people in power made it legal for the military to kill American citizens on American soil. And people were seeing attacks within the US on its own people. Of course, blaming others, like hiding the true people doing it. But anyway, which is what 9/11 all over again. But I digress. So the negative timeline possibilities were there. Multiple people seeing it. I was warned, as well as other people, to stock up. I didn't talk about it. I think I might have talked about it briefly in one video. But everybody's on very different scales of how awakened they are and what they're capable of handling. And Spirit also gives us instructions. I say us because I know I've seen other people, other readers and healers talk about it too. the spirit, like there's a girl that I just saw a snippet of her video on YouTube, but she said spirit was not allowing me to talk about this until now. So anyway, so they prepared us, but how much we were allowed to talk about it is another story. And in the meantime, so those warnings were presented. And in the meantime, honestly, this year has been filled with a lot of soul group, spiritual warfare. Like there are different, okay, there's tons of soul groups. But there are some soul groups who are specifically derived from archangels. My soul group originated from an archangel, Archangel Gabriel specifically. And I'm also my soul family, other souls that my souls work with, my souls, I mean from my soul group, are also from Archangel Michael and Archangel Zadkiel's soul groups as well, and probably more, but those who I specifically know of. And as you can imagine, people whose souls are part of the soul groups from archangels have bigger purposes as well. Like you're not only here for a twin flame journey, you also have much bigger soul missions. Part of the soul missions for my soul group, especially mine, not because it's mine, just I know that because of who I know is in it, we have all experienced a lot of spiritual warfare. So I know that my Archangel Gabriel's soul group, one of our big missions is defeating spiritual warfare, major spiritual warfare. And we've been doing a lot of that the whole freaking year. Like the spring, there was all sorts of stuff caused by the solar eclipse and the dark trying to use the solar eclipse to bring in demons and all sorts of stuff to retain control over the world. And we defeated a whole bunch of that. We destroyed Lilith, who is a major demon, not a good goddess, by the way. And we destroyed, I say destroyed, but they're permanently transmuted to the light now. The female twin flame of Belial. Belial, I think, is believed to even be like the devil, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so we defeated these major demons and major attacks happening to the world during the solar eclipse. And now, honestly, since July, we've been dealing with other stuff. I am not free to discuss all of it because of who and what it involves. Spirit is not allowing me to because, for one thing, it can be dangerous, and for another thing, it's also one of those topics that is too much for some people, many people, to wrap their heads around. But I'm just going to narrow it down and summarize it to say that there was a major attack being planned on the world. My soul group was going to be attacked, but we were only one part of it. There was a very, very, very powerful evil spiritual being who works with humans that are evil as well, that have been in control, who was plotting an attack on many soul groups and many spiritual groups of practitioners who do this sort of thing, who defeat the spiritual warfare and protect people and protect twin flames and all this stuff, because of aiming to, not just stop us from being able to do that, but to then destroy all the work we've done and take all of our power. It was using the energy from the temporary new second moon to use that to attack all of those groups of people from all over the world, and to stop us, to take our power for themselves, and to then attack the world and retain control over the world. I'm sorry, I have to leave you on one more cliffhanger. Okay, so where we left off was really powerful evil being. I can say this. This being is not human, was not human, but was helping humans, helping the most powerful evil humans on the planet. And this being is also not a demon. That's why it's hard to understand. And I'm not at liberty to discuss all of it. But anyway, so this being was plotting this attack on all the soul groups, all the twin flames, all the light workers, to destroy our work, to stop us from helping people, and to steal our power for itself and for the people that it works with, in order to help them retain control over the planet. And so it started off with one person, and then it's not that it snowballed, it's that our view of what expanded. So we were able to then see more clearly of their true plans. And to be honest, Spirit had been giving warnings all year long. Like, my practitioner that helped with my warfare, she works with a team, and of course, like, her team and her group was one of the targets. And anybody who has worked with her within that was one of the targets. But anyway, so they, I don't need their help anymore, but I still, like, I don't know, I guess you could say work alongside them. Maybe you could even consider me part of the team now. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm in communication with them still, even though I don't need them for services. And Spirit had given me a warning in May or June to tell them to reinforce the protections on themselves and their spiritual space. And so I was like, okay, that's interesting. Let them know. Like, and then one of the people that is closely involved with the attack, like I said, it started with an individual, then it expanded. Like, she had a dream that was talking about the plotting by the dark, and that it was growing and it was building and it was coming. She had that dream in the summer. And then events took place over the course of August, September, October, and I'm a really good pattern solver, so I don't know if that's why Spirit used me or not, but I was connecting dots. Like, this person would say this to me, that person would say that to me, this person would say this to me, and I'm like, like, so then I go back to Spirit, and Spirit, explain it to me, or would confirm, or whatever it was about that I was asking. So I started connecting dots. I started confirming with Spirit, and like letting the team know, like, hey, look into this, look into that. This place is under threat. That place is under threat. You need to talk to X, Y, and Z and find out about this, that, and the other, because this person had this dream about this, and it connects back to what this other thing with this other person. Like, I don't know, I was like the I don't know what the word is, but we're going to say go-between. That Spirit was using me to connect all the dots. And then there was another thing. Oh, so when it started with the individual, and that one individual was the one being attacked, I have other people, because I have lots of clients, other people who are saying to me, I'm experiencing this is weird, I'm experiencing this is weird, like all these different people saying this to me, and I'm like, is this connected? Go back to Spirit. Yes, it is connected. It doesn't matter that this person is in this part of the world, this person's over here in this part of the world, this person's over here in this part of the world. They don't know each other. Nobody knows each other, and they don't know the person who's attacking the original person. But yes, it's all connected. You know why it's all connected? Because it's connected in past lives. Because the person and people attacking the original person in this lifetime is actually goes back many lifetimes with all of these different people from the soul group, and has been plotting, literally the dark has been plotting over many lifetimes against the entire soul group, and I'm sure others as well, plotting to be able to prevent us from fulfilling our purpose. And so when this person started getting attacked, this other person in another part of the world started experiencing something that was related. And so did this other person, and et cetera, et cetera. And it was all connected. And I figured it all out with help. But because I have the connections with all the different people from both the clients and for the practitioners in the team, I was the puzzle solver. So we ended up figuring out about this massive attack that was planned on the world, and totally forgot what I was saying for a second. And once we figured it out that they were plotting the attack on all these different spiritual groups, not just ours, and started to figure out what needed to happen in order to protect and prevent. And that's what we got started on mid-October. So from mid-October on, we were working on putting up the protections around our team and our soul groups that work within this spiritual group of practitioners. And then all the other ones that were targeted, they all were given the same instructions, not from us, from spirit and the higher advanced elders who all like work on all this stuff. Like, they don't even work with clients. They work with researching and protecting all of the big global stuff. So they all came together, all these important advanced spiritual elders of the world all came together to figure this out and figure out what needs to happen. So they did. Everyone around the entire freaking world was given their instructions. This is what you need to do to protect your group. Everybody did it. And then in the meantime, there was a specific group of spiritual workers who did have enough power to be able to defeat this being. It was not, my group. It was a different group that, they know each other. They're the ones who had the ability to handle it, to actually defeat it. Like all the rest of us, we just had to put up protections so that we could not be attacked. But this particular group had the power to actually defeat it, and they did on Halloween. And they may even still be finishing up, but they took away the power from them on Halloween. Actually, I think it started on the 30th and 31st. It had to be done on Halloween, like I told you, because spirit can come in and help. And then they're finishing up and wrapping everything up. And what I had been warned about, the things that I had been warned about before that, they were events that were going to start happening in the world and in the country, like basically on Halloween and moving forward. And now everything's changed. Honestly, the way the election went, the fact that it even happened was the first indicator to me. And then I went back to spirit and asked, and I was like, have things changed? Have we prevented all these attacks? And have we prevented the dark timeline for what the dark had planned with the election and everything else? And spirit confirms that yes, defeating that huge global attack, it wasn't the only way, but it was one aspect of how the light orchestrated and worked with the human healers and practitioners and light workers to stop and prevent that negative timeline and attack on the world. So I'm running out of time, but basically I'm just going to sum up and say, that was a potential reality. It was something to worry about, that we were all given factual information and warnings, but that attack was discovered and it was prevented and it was averted, and that negative timeline has been averted now. Spirit tells me that those warnings, those attacks are not going to happen anymore, and the world is now on the higher timeline for ascension and for completely dismantling the dark. So, yay! Okay, I'm out of time, but that's everything, so I'm going to stop. I lied, I'm not going to stop because Spirit wants me to say one more thing. I ended that last video by saying, yay, the world's on the highest timeline now. Okay, that does not mean that the dark has been completely removed from the planet. That does not mean that the evil people are not still here trying to regain control. It means that their worst plans have been stopped. Their worst plans have been prevented. They are no longer able to even gain that evil power that they were seeking. And their worst plots for attacking the US and attacking the world have been prevented. But they're still here. They're still desperate. They're still. Actually, there was a really great way that it was put to me at one point, and I would have to go back to Spirit and ask the exact present circumstances. But the way that I saw it before, or was told about it before, was that it's like the head of the Hydra has been cut off, but like I don't even remember what a Hydra is, but I want to say, but there's still all these flailing tentacles. Hopefully that makes sense, because I don't remember what a Hydra is. But like the head, the top has been cut off, and now the like lower, less important people, but we're still in positions of power, but they kind of like don't really know what to do, but they are still trying to retain control and power, kind of thing. So they're still going to be like up to stuff. We're not 100% in the clear. There's still going to be those evil people, evil intentions who were part of that evil structure. They're still here. They're still in existence. They're still around. They're still plotting. They're still going to try and do stuff. But the worst of their plans have been prevented. The worst of their attacks have been prevented. The worst of all their stuff. And we still have to go through the process of completely dismantling their network, completely dismantling, their everything, their systems, their functions, their power, all that stuff. We have to still completely take all of that away from them and expose them. And I don't know, I guess I'm going to say deal with them however Spirit intends for them to be dealt with. I'm not sure if Spirit intends for them all to publicly be punished in the ways that I know some people want. It may be that some of it happens through karma and spiritual punishments, and we may or may not know about all of it. But just understand that it's not 100% over. Just like the worst of it. Like, we're not on a negative timeline anymore. We're not even on like a middle timeline or a questionable, like what's going to happen type of timeline. Like, we were able to shift to the highest timeline now. So the world is on the right path. Humanity is on the right path. We're still going to have to deal with whatever their attempts may be, but we don't have to be worried about the warnings of the worst potentialities either anymore. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I think that's everything now. You know what? I will pause real quick and check. Okay, so to wrap up, I actually have a quote that I just wrote down from Divine Father, Divine Mother, Source Energy, which is who I usually speak to now. And they said, they want everybody to know, your divine destiny may feel impossibly extraordinary, but you are here for a reason and a purpose bigger than yourself or your ego center or your individual path. You are here in extraordinary times with a need for extraordinary souls, and that's who you are. Don't be afraid to face the impossible. Don't be afraid to believe in miracles. Don't be afraid to believe. All is not what it seems, but all is well, and all will be well, exactly as it's meant to be. You all play a part, even if you don't consciously realize it. Sometimes your higher selves are hard at work while you sleep, which I know many who have experienced. That's why you're extra tired sometimes, too. Sometimes you are guided to your soul work awake as well. But your soul fulfills your mission regardless of how much you are consciously aware of it. So trust and believe in the impossibly extraordinary and know that we are making great strides in the ascension of humanity and Earth. Yay! So that is the full message. And I covered everything that Spirit wanted me to talk about. So So I guess I will wrap up by saying, if you want to participate in the 1111 portal workshop, you can get that through my Etsy shop. What was I just thinking? Sorry, I feel like I can't remember anything right now. But like I said, if you want to join me for the 1111 workshop, sign up. I'll send you the link tomorrow already. Once it's recorded, so you can listen and do the meditation. For some of you, I will be in touch and keep you updated about your healings or send you your readings. Spirit tells me that all of the warfare is wrapped up now. So even though I have been delayed, and any soul group readings were, I was told to wait on until all the warfare was defeated because the soul group was in danger from the warfare. Like, I have permission to move forward, for the most part. I'm waiting for one last, like, all clear, basically, just from, like, the wrapping up of all of that happened. But yeah, so I will be in touch with any of you who I am doing orders for. And I still can't think. You know what? I still have to talk to Spirit about it, but I know that I will be doing again something special for New Year's, so I will update you guys on that soon, later this month. I have to talk to Spirit and find out the details, but I'm excited about that, as always. So yeah, just you guys, I'm assuming you like and follow me and my social media accounts, so you'll see the updates on the normal portal healings and what we'll be doing for the New Year's. And of course, right now, 11/11, and you know where to reach me if anything. If you want to book an order yourself for a reading or a healing or anything, and if you are waiting to hear back from me, I will be in touch soon. I know I said this recently. I'm going to say it again. Like, life has been so overwhelming just in terms of, like, juggling everything, that I can't always respond to messages right away. I can't always, like, update you right away, but I will. And don't think that I've forgotten about you. Like, I'm probably one of the few people who actually answers their messages, because there's a lot of healers that don't. But anyway, so don't worry, didn't forget. I will be in touch. I have another twin flame talk I want to record, but I think I'm going to wait and do that either later today or tomorrow. And I'll record a healing for tomorrow with 11/11 as well, like just like an energy healing on here. And yeah, so I guess that's it. I look forward to hopefully getting back to some normalcy and being able to chat with you guys more, or just provide more twin flame talks and whatnot for you soon. So I hope you guys have a great 11/11 portal and enjoy the rest of your weekend.